Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. So today is our week 3 topic, yeah, on the organizations of information in different contexts. Basically, there are many contexts, yeah, in which there is a desire to organize information so that it will be retrievable for various purposes, and so that at least, yes, some of it will be kept for posterity or for as a national heritage. And the one to be discussed today are library of all types. I will touch about archive, museum, and internet, and other institutions or information providers that known as information agencies. Yeah? Information agencies. All right, let's go through one by one. Okay, first, let's define what is information agency. Yeah, information agency can be referred as institutions or center to organize and provide information so that it will be retrievable for various purposes and also provide resources, services to the user. Yeah. So again, this definition, they refer to information agency is the institutions, yeah, institution or center. Kita boleh panggil dia as the information provider as well. The information agency is the information provider that normally provides information for their community, yeah, or for the specific user. And information agency organize information so that it will be retrievable for various purposes and also to be kept for posterity or for heritage. Bila kita kata maklumat disimpan oleh mana-mana agensi or institution, at the same time, we know that information will value in terms of maybe information as a commodity, maknanya ada financial or monetary value. But at the same time, information also dia ada apa history or heritage or social value. We call this as a social value, which means as a information as a national heritage, can be considered as national heritage. Contohnya bagaimana? Maklumat yang ada disimpan di archive, museum, and etc. Okay, there are several types of information agencies, but not limited to these seven types or 7 categories. Okay, as we know that library is the longest tradition. It's the longest traditions or institution that organize information, that kept information. And as we know that there are various types of libraries. Kita akan go through one by one. And then there's also museum. Museum juga ada pelbagai. And then archive. Archive, kita ada record center, knowledge center, resource center, gallery. So ini antara yang the most or the prominent information agencies that normally being established in many countries. Okay, let's go through in detail. The first one, library. Okay, what is library? Dah belajar tentang apa dia library? Siapa boleh jawab apa itu library? biasa gunakan library kan.
Library,
Hmm.
right.
Hmm.
Apa library? Library tempat kita nak untuk something
Hmm.
yang kita tak tahu atau kita nak tahu.
Ya. Betul betul. Dah breakfast belum ni?
Tengah ambil.
Tengah breakfast.
Yeah.
Okay. Basically, library is information provider. Yeah, dia information provider that provide information services to end user or to customer. And library can be divided into several categories. Kita akan discuss one by one. And as I mentioned just now, library, they have the longest traditions. Longest tradition, which mean library ni sebelum information agency yang lain exist, library dah awal lagi ditubuhkan atau wujud. And the purpose for organizing information, for retrieval, for retrieval of information for the future civilization, which means for future generation. And library relies on the efforts of collection development to fulfill their missions. And library well known from their based on their collection development. So library yang banyak koleksinya, kita boleh katakan sebagai library yang bagus perkhidmatannya. For example, our PITA library in Shah Alam, kita hold collection printed collection more than 1 million copies. More than 1 million copies. And amongst IPTA, among IPT in Malaysia, library PITA, they're very well known in terms of complexity and completeness of their collections, their library collection. And generally, library collections are developed in three ways. Number one, from the librarian views itself, which means librarian learn about existing and new works. Dia dapat maklumat daripada, for example, from review, books review or collection reviews, or publisher announcement. And this is the most important part, request from patron or from the user. Librarian, dia mendapat request from the user to provide or maybe to purchase or to establish a certain collection, a certain library collection for their user. Jadi daripada maklumat ni, library akan set up or develop their collection. Apa dia tadi, daripada, for example, from books review or literature, and then from publisher announcement. Publisher announcement is part of marketing strategy. Dia adalah promotion material. Dia promotion material, marketing strategy. For example, from catalogs, books catalogs, maybe from email, templates, or any marketing tools. And finally, request from patron or user. Example, in our academics library, researcher or lecturer or in fact student, you may request certain topics or certain books and new book especially from your librarians. So librarian akan proses permohonan tu dan akan cuba memudahkan. And then number two, collection development from donation. Donation or gift from the user itself, or from certain maybe leaders or apa kita nak kata sebagai tokoh-tokoh tertentu masyarakat. And sometimes donation from the organization, government or private organization, government agency, ministry dan sebagainya, especially those conduct research and development, R&D, R&D activity. So normally they publish reports or maybe produce prospectus of the or annual report for the agency. Normally they donate this collection to your library. And then number 3, rearrange relationships with book vendor. Book vendors that supply title based on pre-designed profile. For number 3, dia yang ini dia specifically for the rare or unique collections. Rare and unique collection. For example, that library may be specifically for medical collection or for medical faculty. So bahan yang ada dalam tu mostly on medical aspect or medical collection. So as a librarian, you need to arrange with book vendor to help you or to assist you in establish or develop collection specifically for medical. So normally book vendor, they will suggest types of collection, types of books or journal or any printed document that's suitable for your library. Itu kalau di Malaysia contohnya yang biasa in medical, medical library or legal library, legal and law library, and contohnya juga dalam health, health information, and then related to agriculture, and we do have collections about forestry as well, wood and forestry, dan kita juga ada tentang palm oil, and ada juga berkenaan dengan library yang dibangunkan mengikut activity research and development. For example, for Mardi, and then there's another one, MINS, Malaysian Institutes of Atom and Nuclear. They specifically they develop collection on those topic or those aspects. Okay, next. Organizations of information in libraries. Basically there ada a few process, few activity in library. Let's go through one by one. So the first one, arrange and classify. How to arrange and classify. So these are the 3 main activities of organizations of information for the library. Any library normally they will perform these 3 activities. Okay, when materials are received, they are physically arranged and classified. Arranged by alphabetically, for example, using the instrument or standards such as Dewey Decimal Classification and Library of Congress Classification. Okay, yang ini you familiar dengan nombor-nombor ini? DDC and LCC? You know the difference between these two, DDC and LCC?
The different no?
Tak tahu?
No. Pernah dengar tapi.
Pernah dengar, tapi tak tahu. Okay, di pita puncak perdana, dia gunakan yang mana? DDC or LCC?
LCC.
LCC. They start with number or with alphabet? Alphabet. Ingat tak?
Rasanya alfabet.
Alphabet. Kita start dengan alphabet. Tak apa, nanti kita tengok. Okay, So pertamanya di sini proses yang terlibat adalah untuk arrange. You need to arrange your books on the shelf, on the bookshelf. And number 2, to classify, which means you need to assign a unique number. You kena assign a unique number So that this unique number will help you in arranging. Arrange macam mana nak arrange? You arrange mengikut nombor-nombor tadi. So nombor-nombor tadi dibentuk daripada yang sini. Dua perkara ini. Sama ada menggunakan DDC or LCC. So that the order or the arrangements on the bookshelf also based on this number. Boleh tak library gunakan dua nombor? Normally tak ada, dia gunakan salah satu sahaja. Ini salah satu sahaja. Nanti kita go through in detail. Okay, process number 2, cataloging and classifications. Cataloging and classification process. The first activity to occur following the receipts of new resources is to record your collection. Selepas record, you need to create a description. You need to create a description of the physical item. Yang ini creating a description of the physical item. So description in this process actually they refer to cataloging. Refer to cataloging activity. Apa tujuan cataloging? Kalau orang tanya, ada soalan. The purpose of cataloging is to create a description. Create a description of that particular collection or particular books. So kita describe apa? Kita describe the physical item. Using a standards as well. So apa standardnya? Currently kita gunakan AACR, Anglo-American Cataloging Rules, and but nowadays for Malaysia we shifted to RDA, RDA standard. Pernah dengar AACR and RDA? Pernah dengar tak? Pernah? Tak pernah? Pernah?
Tak.
So nanti kita akan go in detail. And in description process, you need to choose certain names and title as the access point. Name and title, actually not the author name. Name and title they refer to keywords. But this keyword normally, in practice, library they use author name. Author names and the title of the books or the title of the collection for their access point. So dua perkara ini adalah primary key. Primary key to retrieve or to search for the information collection. Biasanya dia gunakan apa? Nama. Nama apa? Nama pengarang. Tetapi dalam setengah kes kita tak boleh menggunakan nama. Contohnya if the books or publication being published by corporate bodies, by corporate bodies, contohnya nama-nama korporat. Buku tu diterbitkan oleh contohnya pejabat korporat UiTM, pejabat korporat UiTM. Dia tak nama pengarang. Siapa pengarang dia? Staff di pejabat korporat contohnya. Jadi kita tak boleh search under username or author name. In this case, dia kata sebagai name sajalah, tetapi bukan author name. It can be the corporate bodies, corporate name. And the title as the access point, title of the information, title of the books. And then in this process juga dia ada dua lagi proses yang lain, iaitu authority work. Authority work, which means assigning authority bodies or assigning responsibilities. Siapa dia responsible for that collections? Siapa yang responsible? It can be the author, it can be the publisher, or it can be the person at the library who did the processing work, yang memproses perkara ini. So kita panggil sebagai authority work. And there's also subject analysis. In subject analysis, you need to identify types of subject for that particular title. subject for that particular title. For example, the book's title can be Introduction to Financial Management. Introduction to Finance, for example. Ataupun Fundamentals of Finance. Jadi apa dia punya subjek? The subject can be in this topic, the subject is finance contohnya. Jadi untuk ini kita juga menggunakan for subject analysis, we need to refer to standard as well. Dari sini tadi kita gunakan standard contohnya DDC, LCC, and for cataloging process you need to refer to AACR or RDA, but for subject analysis normally you need to use Library of Congress subject heading, LCSH, Library of Congress subject heading. Ataupun in medical they use MESH, medical subject heading, to identify the subject, the subjects of your collection. And finally, to create a call number, creating a call number for your collection. Kenapa kita gunakan call number? Yang ini kita discuss di sini tadi. Kita gunakan DDC or LCC to create the call number of a class number. But a call number dia a bit simple. Dia a bit simple. Okay, next, MARC. MARC stand for machine readable format. The information always entered into MARC record where it's become electronically retrievable in the forms of union catalog. And for example, in UiTM, di kita ada OPAC, sistem OPAC tu, data yang ada dalam OPAC adalah machine readable forms. Mungkin zaman-zaman di sekolah dulu ataupun you pernah tengok kad katalog. Siapa yang pernah tengok kad katalog? Katalog card for the library, bukan kad katalog, shopping katalog. This card catalogs or catalog cards actually is retrieval tools, but in physical form. Since our nature nowadays, we rely a lot on electronic and digital information. Kita gunakan IT infrastructure as well. Therefore, MARC or machine readable forms are being introduced. Kenapa? They kept catalogs but in electronic form. Catalogs in electronic form. Dari situ dia menghasilkan union catalogs. Union catalogs, which means they integrate several catalogs in their databases. For example, OCLC. OCLC ini dia juga dikenali sebagai World Catalog. World Catalog with integrate catalogs record from all over the world. Begitu juga yang lain-lain. Saya akan explain ini later in our next classes. Okay, for this cataloging and classification process. Cataloging and classification process. Just now I did explain about cataloging in brief, cataloging and classification in brief. But this slide explain in big depth. Okay, let's go through number one. So 3 proses ini berlaku dalam cataloging and classification. Number one is descriptive cataloging. For descriptive cataloging, it is the process of choosing names and title access point. Name and title access point. As I mentioned earlier, kita dapat nama sama ada personal name or maybe the second author, third author, dia ada penulis bersama, joint author di sini. Bagi orang lah, bagi nama orang. ya. Tetapi ada juga publication published by corporate name, as I discussed earlier. And then you juga perlu mendapatkan title, title for that particular works. Title ni biasanya judul buku lah, ataupun judul bahan. Nanti kita akan buat ni juga dengan detail. Okay, next followed a set rules called RDA currently and AACR. AACR 2R, Anglo-American Cataloguing Rule ini kita 3 tahun ataupun 4 tahun lepas kita shifted Malaysia library, Malaysian library, they shifted from AACR 2 to RDA. Kenapa ya? Sebab di seluruh dunia dia menggunakan RDA to replace AACR. RDA dia more adaptable and applicable for our electronic resource or electronic information nowadays. Kalau AACR ni dia lebih kepada conventional collection macam yang ada di physical library. Tapi sekarang library banyak menggunakan online databases, electronic informations, and RDA is the continuity of AACR but in different versions, produced by the same organizations. Okay, for subject analysis, you need to determine or identify the subject matter of the works. Subject headings are chosen by referring to a list of control vocabulary, control vocabulary terms. Control vocabulary or control vocabs is a manual, manual yang kita boleh juga rujuk sebagai rules, rules for subject analysis. Example, Library of Congress subject heading and medical subject heading. But the most widely or internationally used is LCSH. LCSH. For MESH, specifically being used in medical library or medical collections. Tetapi boleh tak medical library dia gunakan LCSH? Boleh, tak ada masalah. Cuma dia tidak terlalu spesifik skopnya kepada bahan-bahan medical. Kadang-kadang dia terlalu generic. Itu generic for specific subject as in medical. Medical dia ada banyak subjek yang spesifik dan tertutup. Dia very close to their community. Next, classification. A notation, classifications notations are chosen from standard classification schedule. For example, LCC and DDC as I mentioned earlier. So classification di sini adalah you assign a certain number or character as a representation in for the original work. Buku contohnya you representkan buku menggunakan certain number. Number tu number apa? Can be LCC or DDC. So basically, to conclude this slide, there are 3 categories or 3 processes involved in cataloging and classification, and each of these processes there ada set of rules yang you perlu tahu. RDA, ACR, LCSH, MESH, LCC dan DDC. Tetapi dia tidak limited kepada ini sahaja. Dia ada banyak lagi. This is the most prominently or dominantly used in the world and in Malaysia as well. Kadang-kadang ada soalan test or exam ditanya berkenaan dengan perkara ini. Apakah rule for subject analysis, manual for classification, for descriptive cataloguing. I hope you can name this process and the rules or standard correctly based on each category. Okay, so far any question for this activity or process? Ada soalan?
So far, no, Dr.
Okay. Zuriani dia yang cakap, yang lain.
No, Doktor.
Tu tengah apa? Basuh baju. Senyap je semua. Okay. This is DDC number. DDC of Dewey Decimal Classification System. Okay, pernah tengok nombor-nombor ini? Maknanya bahan library, bahan yang ada di library disusun mengikut Dewey number. Dia mengikut bidang. This is the Dewey number. The range of number which represent 10 main classes or 10 main field. For example, 000 to 099, they meant for general works. Collection related to general works, dia akan menggunakan nombor ini. Nombor antara 000 sehingga 099. Jadi apa jenis bukunya? For example, encyclopedias, almanacs, record books, jenis book records. Dia gunakan ini. Okay, what about religions? Religion, if you process books about religion ataupun you ada collection tentang agama, contohnya surah atau Yasin dan terjemahannya. So you should put under this number, between 200 to 99. Contohnya apa? Inilah buku-buku agama. What else? Okay, maybe books about social science, social science collection. So nombornya begini dan koleksinya apa dia? Tajuk-tajuk yang bagaimana? It can be government publications, government reports, books about holiday, folklore, fairy tales, education and community. But this number is the main heading, the main number. Kalau tajuk dia lebih detail, that may be involve 2 or 3 classes in a single topic, then you kena pecahkan lagi nombor. Okay. Ada nampak tak nombor-nombor ni di library kita?
Ada, sir.
Ada, Doktor.
Yeah. So kita gunakan nombor ni ke? Library kita gunakan DDC?
Ya.
Yeah, sure. Betul?
Ingat, sir.
Ingat
Tak
Doktor dah lama.
Dah lama, semester ni tak masuk ke library lagi.
Masuk sekali. Lepas tu pulang balik buku.
Okay. Tak sempat lagi, tak boleh nak ingat. Okay, macam ni. Kita tengok nanti. In fact, you boleh check dalam OPEC. Our OPEC tu kita boleh trace apa nombor yang digunakan. Okay, this is the book spine. So kita ada label, the class number label. So you akan tengok dalam setiap buku spine yang ada di library itu dia ada nombor-nombor. Ini biasa kan nampak, dan di bawah ni ataupun di bahagian atas ni ada barcode. Nombor dia ada barcode. Okay, so this is the example. 813. 813 which mean main class dia adalah 800. So kita tengok 800. Apa bidang dia 800? Bidang apa? Literature. So tadi 813. So dia adalah dalam ni 813. Main class 800 and then section 13. 13 ni apa? Dia adalah subdivisions. Subdivisions of the main 100. Mana tajuk dia tadi menjurus kepada subdivision ataupun topik yang lebih kecil. So nanti yang ini subjek, dalam subjek classification you akan belajar lah. Saya tak akan detailkan. Ini just brief, brief you on the structure. 813.54. So the dot or the full stop symbol actually represent the topic separator. Topic separator. So ini adalah main section, nombor ni main. And then 54. 54 ini dia menggunakan pengkelasan, sistem pengkelasan untuk mengetahui topik buku tersebut dengan detail. Nanti you akan belajar lebih detail dalam subjek classification. Saya tak sentuh ini secara terperinci lah. And then M42, M42, this is the author identifier, and then 2011 is the year of publication. But if you compare this example with the book spine, they use different style or different concept. Okay, macam ni. 778.53, yang ini sama. Masih menggunakan yang ini. Tetapi di bahagian belakang ini, they actually depends on the library itself whether they want to use it or they have other system. In this case, the library, kalau you notice, dia menggunakan ASC, NUR, ROC. Ini nombor apa? Nombor ini sebenarnya adalah the character, the first three character of the author name. The first three character of the author name. But in this example, the author identifier they represent menggunakan the first alphabet, the first character of the name, and then the 42. 42 ni dia adalah code number, code number yang mewakili pengarang yang ada di library tersebut. Tapi kebanyakannya library di Malaysia kita menggunakan kaedah ini. Kita menggunakan kaedah ini. The identifier yang ini, the first three character of the author name, and then the main class number. Okay, kenapa perlu letak author identifier? Because books sometimes they can be with the same title and the same field, but can be wrote by different author. So that's why we need to include the author name or the author identifier in class number. And sometimes library provide a year of publication di bawah ni sekali. Di bahagian bawah ni dia letakkan year of publication. Kenapa? Sebab dia mungkin adalah the second or third or fourth or fifth editions of the same books, but published in different years. Jadi diletakkan tahun di sini. Buku title yang sama, tetapi edition yang berbeza. Jadi diletakkan tahun di sini untuk membezakan dengan kelas. Okay, any question for DDC? Dewey Decimal Classification System.
No, doctor.
Right. And this is the Library of Congress classification scheme, or classification system, LCC. For LCC, dia tak menggunakan Dewey. Dia tak gunakan number, but they use alphabet. They use alphabet. So ini adalah alphabet that being selected to represent the area or the field of kita panggil di sini sebagai kelas, kalau di sini kita punya kelas, the main class. Okay. Alright. So dalam kelas ini dia menggunakan the main class. The main class ni yang inilah A, B, C, D dan sebagainya to represent the main subject. Tetapi konsep yang di dalam ini numbering dia menggunakan konsep yang sama seperti yang ada di dalam DDC. So kalau kita tengok penggunaan ini semua ada di dalam manual. Dan seperti yang saya jelaskan tadi, they provide you with the character of the author and then the year of publication as well. The same concept but different technique, numbering. Okay, so in cataloging process, as I mentioned earlier, you need to employ several standards, or several standard ataupun tools. Tools apa? Alatnya apa? Dia adalah standard. Standard can be sometimes dia refer sebagai manual, or it can be as a guide. Ini soalan yang sangat popular. Ditanya sama ada dalam test atau dalam exam. Apa agaknya alat-alat yang digunakan. So, you must know the AACR, RDA, and then this is DDC, and this is LCSH. You will learn further in cataloging and classification subject. Semester berapa ya? Semester 5 ya? 4. Okay, there are two types of cataloging. Original cataloging, and the other one is copy cataloging. Copy cataloging. Original cataloging situation occurs when a cataloger is unable to locate, either locally or through an external authority, existing bibliographic data for the item being described. So in original cataloging, you produce a catalog records from scratch, from zero. Kenapa ya? Sebab you unable to identify the catalog records from any sources, as being described in this statement. Dia kata apa? Unable to locate either locally or through external authority. External authority can be from the publisher or from the book vendor as well. So you tak dapat sumber-sumber tu, then you need to start from zero, from scratch, untuk you buat original cataloging. Or the other process is through copy cataloging. Copy cataloging. What is copy cataloging? It's a process of building upon original cataloging. It involves matching and establish bibliographic records, example from OCLC. So dalam proses ini, sesuai dengan the term copy cataloging, which means you copy the catalog records from other sources. Copy catalog or bibliographic record from other sources. Contohnya, the most popularly used in this activity is from OCLC or World Catalog. World Catalog. Kenapa ya? Sebab World Catalog, OCLC ni, dia menyimpan seluruh koleksi di seluruh dunia yang ditempatkan di Ohio. Di Ohio tu database ni. Jadi setiap negara, contohnya macam kita di UiTM, kita ada OPEC. Kita ada OPEC. Dalam OPEC kita ada bibliographic record. Semua buku yang ada di UiTM di PITA tu, dia hasilkan bibliographic record. Bibliographic record ni disimpan di dalam sistem library kita, Integrated Library System, ILMS for PITA. And PITA library need to submit the catalog records or the bibliographic records to National Library. In this process, National Library adalah is the our country dipanggil sebagai dalam bahasa Melayunya disebut KIK, katalog induk kebangsaan. Katalog induk kebangsaan. Tetapi National Library di sini juga ada berperanan sebagai mengawal silia Union Catalog. They manage the Union Catalog for Malaysia. And finally, National Library submit the records, the bibliographic records from PITA Library and other library in Malaysia to OCLC. Jadi semua library di Malaysia tak terkecuali dia perlu menghantar katalog record to National Library as National Bibliographic Agency. National Library is our National Bibliographic Agency. Fungsi National Library adalah to collect all bibliography and then submit the record to OCLC. Begitu juga negara-negara yang lain, they have their own National Bibliographic Agency. So fungsi National Library selain daripada menyediakan perkhidmatan dan mengeluarkan dasar, at the same time they act as a National Bibliographic Agency that represent the country. So dalam hal ini semua data tadi dikumpulkan, dihimpunkan and submitted to OCLC. Kenapa perlu submit sana? Supaya setiap negara tahu maklumat itu ada di mana. And kalau you access WorldCat, you boleh juga membuat pencarian dan boleh identify koleksi itu berada di negara-negara mana. Okay. Once items have been chosen, received and added into the catalog, the physical item have to be processed. So, proses bagaimana? Technical process, we start from removing and adding book jackets, placing security strips in or on item, placing call numbers, label and barcodes, conservation and preservation for all the item. So this is the physical process of books or printed collection. Pertama dia akan remove the jacket. Buku yang normally hard bound tu, yang ada hard cover, dia akan ada jacket, so jacket tu dituarkan. Kemudian dia ada security strips ataupun security magnetic tapes. Dia akan insert pada book spine, and nowadays library use the new technology. Dia menggunakan RFID tapes RFID tapes yang dia tampal pada belakang buku. Ini untuk security check lah. And then placing call numbers, labels and barcodes, especially on in the books pages or on the book spine. And finally, conservation and preservation for all the item. Nanti saya akan cuba invite librarian, our PITA library, to explain to you about this process. Kalau ada nanti saya akan share.
Betul.
Yes.
Book jackets mana?
Okay,
Sampul
buku
ke?
jacket. Dia sampul buku. Kalau buku yang berkulit keras contohnya, buku biasa kan tengok buku yang berkulit keras tu, pernah tengok?
Pernah.
So buku tu cover dia bukan cover seperti front page of books normally. Dia ada satu jacket lain atau satu lapisan lain. Sekejap saya searchkan di sini. Let me share this one just to show you the books jacket. Okey, boleh nampak.
Boleh, Doktor.
So yang inilah book jacket. Selalunya buku-buku yang macam ni harga dia lebih mahal berbanding cover yang biasa. So dia dalam ni dia akan dia punya buku tu dia akan plain. Dia plain. So inilah yang kita panggil book jacket.
Okey.
Jadi prosesnya biasa you need to remove the book jacket and the process physically yang ini saja. Yang dalam dia saja.
Okey.
Okay, done. Alright. So ini proses-proses yang saya sebutkan tadi. This is the physical process of the collection, books especially. Ini conservation and preservation. Walaupun the conservation and preservation actually part of record management, records and archive management program, but there's also conservation and preservation processes in library as well. So ini juga dilaksanakan di library. Dibuat di library terutama bagi buku-buku rosak yang masih digunakan dan rosak. Okey, saya rasa setakat itu saja kelas untuk hari ini. Saya stop dulu ke topik library. Pada minggu depan saya akan sambung kaitan archive and other information agencies as well. Okey, sebelum saya tamatkan ni ada apa-apa soalan?
Sir,
Yes.
untuk LCC tu kan, kan ada letter kat atas tu untuk certain subjek classification dia. Jadi kalau dalam satu buku tu ada macam banyak subjek tu, dia akan double triple punya letter ke atau macam mana?
Letter LCC. Okay, so yang you tengok dalam classification, sekejap saya share yang okay, slide yang ini kan? Betul kan ni? Classification outline. Okay. So, kita akan kenal pasti melalui LCC. Yang kita kenal pasti adalah the main subject. The main subject. Contohnya kalau misalnya kata subjek dia dalam bidang social science. Social science dia definitely with H. Betul? Sebab dia memang tajuk dia Introduction to Social Science. Tetapi katalah tajuknya adalah poverty di sub-Saharan country. Poverty, kemiskinan di mana? Di sub-Saharan. So, mana kita nak letakkan? Dia mungkin adalah gabungan daripada social sciences dan juga mungkin konten dia berkaitan dengan agriculture. Mungkin sebab apa? Mungkin di dalam tu dia bercerita tentang bagaimana kemiskinan tadi masyarakat di tempat tu menggunakan pertanian sebagai jalan untuk dia keluar daripada kemiskinan. Jadi untuk tu you kena study the content of the books. Kena tengok dia punya content. But then you can integrate between these two. Contohnya tak boleh letakkan HS. Tak boleh sebab the prominent or the dominant subject is the social sciences. Cuma tadi saya ada nyatakan di sini dia ada nombor-nombor ni. Jadi nombor-nombor ni lah yang menentukan bidang dia. Kalau kita tengok dalam konteks ini, contohnya main class 800, but 13 in this class refer to the sub topic. subtopiknya apa, you kena identify. 13 ni dia represent meaning. Begitu juga dengan 54, 5 and 4, each of this character dia mengandungi makna. Jadi di sini pun sama ya. L, the area or the subject field, yes, dia punya sign field, 9, 3, 8, setiap satunya ini mengandungi makna to represent as you mentioned just now. Dia mungkin combinations of many topics or combinations of many field. Okay, boleh faham?
Tapi kan dua letter tak boleh letak dalam satu tu kan?
Yeah.
Dalam gambar ni ada VC, kalau yang dekat merah tu ada macam MA
Okay.
nampak.
Okay. So ini dia bergantung kepada subtopiknya apa. Subtopiknya apa. Macam yang ini, dia punya prominent ini B. Ya, B. Tetapi dia punya code, dia bukan A, B, C, D macam tu. Ya, ini combination ni ditentukan melalui bidang-bidang yang spesifik. Ya, maknanya dalam manual ni, dia dah tentukan B ni untuk apa, BC ni untuk apa. You tak boleh, macam tadilah contohnya, you ambil mana-mana bidang daripada sini, you nak combine lah E dengan Q contoh. You tak boleh simply like that. Dalam manual tu dia dah letakkan. Kalau bidang dia, subjek dia katakan business information tu di bawah B, contoh di bawah B, kemudian dia adalah business information adalah BF. Dia dah ada dalam manual tu. Bukan bermaksud you yang kena pilih daripada alfabet B dan juga R contohnya. Tidak. Tapi dalam ni dia nyatakan sendiri B, BC, BA, BC, F dan sebagainya. Tak apa, nanti dalam LCC you akan belajar dengan detail.
Okay sir, thank you.
Manual dia ni tebal. Tak ada gambarnya kat sini.
Oh, kiranya kan doktor, LCC tu bukan depend sampai Z tu ke, ada lagi macam tu?
Bukan sampai Z maksudnya. Okey, ni A
Macam
sampai Z.
ini, ini macam fix atau dia ada lagi huruf?
Tak, ini dia dah fix yang ini. Tetapi di dalam sini dia ada pecahan-pecahan.
Oh, okey.
Dia ada pecahan-pecahan lagi. Dan pecahan tu, you tak boleh combine, tetapi dia dah hasilkan macam tu. It's just that tajuk buku you apa, kontennya apa, you kena mapkan. Dia ni dalam A ke ataupun AF ke, yang pecahan di dalam. You yang kena cari.
Okey, faham.
Dia bukan, bila kita buat class number, bukan hanya melihat kepada title. You need to flip your book, refer to the book's title, you need to refer to the book's content, table of content, to know the exactly apa dia punya kelas, kelas ataupun tajuk-tajuk bidang-bidang. So dalam hal ni, sekali lagi saya ingatkan, you tak boleh simply ambil, you nak combine A dengan U ataupun A dengan T, tak boleh. Tetapi di dalam ni, A ni dia dah disediakan apa agaknya abjad-abjad yang ada, dan you mapkan from your book's title to the class.
Okay, kita analyse buku tu, lepas tu nanti baru kita decide dia letak bawah A dia, bawah A tu B ke C macam tu.
Ya, betul.
Okay.
Tetapi setengah buku sekarang, pihak publisher dia nak memudahkan proses itu, dia dah letakkan sekali setiap buku yang diterbitkan dia equip with DDC and LCC number. DDC and LCC number. Normally they provide this information pada you punya CIP, Ya, ada tak buku di tangan you ataupun di rumah you tu, you tengok buku, dia biasanya pada 2 ataupun 3 buku surat ke depan dia, yang depan, from the cover page, dia ada maklumat tentang Library of Congress Cataloging in Publication Data. Ya, yang itu kita panggil CIP information. Ya, dalam tu dia sediakan the catalog information and they provide you with the number as well. Yeah, the class number as well, both number in DDC and in LCC. Dia dah tuliskan kat situ.
Oh.
Yeah, so ini untuk proses yang dimudahkan oleh publisher. Jadi ini adalah satu proses copy cataloging yang saya explain tadi. Just copy from the book itself. Provided by the publisher, book publisher.
Okay, kalau original tu dia tak ada prepare lah yang
Ya,
hadis.
kadang-kadang original ni tak ada. Contohnya apa tahu buku-buku yang tak ada ni? Buku in music, ya, music work. Music work ni buku-buku yang saya lupa apa nama dia. Buku yang ada yang ada simbol-simbol tauge tu. Tahu tak simbol tauge?
Music notes.
Ya, music notes, ya. Misalnya tauge. So buku music yang music notes ni dia sometimes dia memang tak ada, dia unik. Hanya dekat Malaysia ni tak silap saya ada beberapa sahaja yang library yang simpan koleksi begitu. Contohnya apa? Yamaha Institute Guru Kelana Jaya. Dia private college, dia music in music. Kemudian kita ada contohnya kita punya library di section 17 ya, UiTM, dia Faculty of Music kat situ, dia pun ada. Jadi ya, individu yang buat katalog ni hanya orang yang pakar dalam bidang music. Dia ada seorang lecturer dia kat situ. Dia alumni our faculty but they join as academician di fakulti tu. Jadi dia pun mahir dalam cataloging of music books. Begitu juga dengan collection in other languages. For example, in Arabic, Arabic, tulisan Arab. And then in maybe in Chinese, Chinese character, in Japanese character, or other language that use their own character. Jadi yang itu kita kadang-kadang kita susah nak identify dan kita susah nak buat copy cataloging. Jadi macam di UIA, buku-buku dalam bahasa Arab, dia ada pensyarah dia, staff, library staff, librarian, that dia ada unique skill on this. Dia boleh berbahasa Arab, dia boleh menulis Arab dan dia buat original cataloging on that collection.
Okay.
Okay. So dalam ni ada yang boleh berbahasa Korea? Ada yang minat K-pop kat sini?
Tak payah tanya lah doktor.
Mesti ada peminat BTS? Ada BTS? Tak ada? Siapa? Syahira?
Zuraini ke? Farah Natasha.
BTS ke?
So, dia ada dia punya grup ni BTS dengan Blackpink ni. Okay. Tak ada? Ada apa? BTS ARMY?
Ada.
Grup J-pop sir.
Yeah.
Saya EXO sir.
Dia bukan grup K-pop, grup kecoh ni. Grup K-pop.
Doktor tu ada soalan security script tu macam mana? Ada yang tanya.
Okay. Mana? Ada dalam chat.
Chat dalam chat.
Okay, security script ni dia adalah satu magnetic tape. Magnetic tape yang ini tape ni. Boleh nampak ni? Sekejap.
Oh ya. Boleh nampak.
Saya lupa nak off kan. Saya record lupa pula tak off.